This is the How Is He podcast, a deep dive into Carlo soccer with Podge and Papa, proudly sponsored by Curra Sports. Let's kick it off.
Welcome to episode 51 of the How Is He podcast, joined as always by my co-host Paul Poppet here in a fantastic facility brought to us by Ampifi Studios right here, Poppet, in the heart of Carlow Town. This week we have results, fixtures, and of course Podge versus Papa. We are joined by a guest, a man with 700 professional appearances. I think we conned him into coming onto this podcast. I think he's done something different.
We got
anyway,
lucky, that's
here.
for sure, yeah.
Most notably played for Millwall 342 times, and many other clubs: Galway United, West Ham, Derry City, Bournemouth, Luton Town, and a few others along the way. He's picked up an FAI Cup, a playoff winner, a Nations Cup winner with Ireland in 2011. He also has 24 caps for Ireland and was in the 2012 Euro squad. He's also the co-founder of Pathfinder Coaching Development, which I looked at today, which is very insightful. Wow.
Thank you.
And he is just about to release and launch his autobiography, Being the One. A proud Galway man and Irish soccer legend, Papa. David Forde. David, how are you? Welcome to the show. I want to apologise for the embarrassment that this is going to cause you. I'm only joking. A massive welcome.
Just be yourself, Podge.
Yeah. We do have questions, Pop.
Yep.
But before we get to you there, well, first of all, how are you? Well, good?
Absolutely mighty. A bit delayed this morning on the old flight, but other than that, absolutely marvellous and delighted to be here, actually.
Good. Thanks very much for coming.
Very excited.
It's a pleasure.
It was the biggest thing for me, I suppose, is getting me to stop talking. So
yeah, well, look, there's
you're on the right show. You
exactly.
You're on the right. There is no panic there.
Yeah.
Papa, looking at the weekend, Newark 6, Vale Wanderers 1. Dean Kelly going viral again.
Yeah, wicked. I think it's the best one, yeah.
As I said before,
he should get a push award or something for free kicks. That's about 7.
It's nuts.
I say this year. Local lad, Dean
Local
Kelly.
lad.
So he's top player in the league.
Played the League of Ireland, but just I reckon he's League 2 level.
Is that the guy St. Felix?
No, there's a different lad. You're thinking of Jack Byrne.
It's
Jimmy Hurley's your agent, right? And he got you on there.
Exactly,
Also, be known that Jimmy Hurley is massive St. Felix, so he's going to give you all them lads. There's another club in Great Cullen called St. Patrick's Boys. Did Jimmy tell you that?
His dad was one of the founders.
Yeah. His dad was one of the founders of Felix.
He said, if you want to come back here for tea later on, you better drop in St. Felix really quickly.
Hanover 1, Cretty 1, Pop.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Good game, yeah. Both teams have an argument to see who could. One of them might have won it, but probably a draw was a fair result. Critty had a few chances, obviously, and then they could have won it near the end. We scored a great goal through Kieran Nolan, and then they equalised a little bit of a mix-up in the back line and landed at their striker with 15 minutes to go, and then, momentum carries and all that crack, and they had a chance after that, but Matty Kelly made. Ben McCarron obviously made a save in the first half for us, which is brilliant. Young lad only... he's only 18 now this year.
Yeah,
and
keeper.
Good keeper, yeah. He's only a young lad, and he's brilliant. He's getting better. You can see he's kicking getting longer there with every single game, and
getting stronger,
getting more vocal, and he's got stronger hands saving balls and all this kind of crack. And then Matty Kelly saved one from Aaron in the last kick of the game, which he's no right to save as well. So draw was a fair result, I'd say, Podge.
Yeah.
Good to see the keepers on top.
Yeah,
there's some cracking ones in this
there's some good ones, yeah.
Brilliant.
Bagnallstown 2, Collection 3. A bit of a ding-dong affair. Clash coming out on top. I had that in Podge versus Papa. Unlucky.
We did too.
Ballymurphy 4. This is the first division. Ballymurphy 4, Middle Celtic 0. Slaney Rovers 0. Jimmy St. Felix 1. 1-0 against Slaney. I know you're listening out there. Anyway. Dom Celtic 6. St. Pat's 1. But I think Pats were on a bit of a hangover from the dinner dance. But yeah.
Just say they got a thumping and that's it.
They got a thumping. No, they did, yeah.
Dinner dance was unbelievable, though.
Yeah. Great dinner dance.
Great. 50 years the club is always a good big celebration.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing for a club in this town anyway, for sure, this county. Cretty United B 0, Bottinglass 3. In Division 3, Wolfhill 2, St. Joseph's 1, Bagnallstown B 3, Burn Celtic 2. In the ladies, Nurney 2, New Park 6, Ballymurphy 2, Mill Celtic 5. I was at this game, Papa, Hanover Youths versus Cretty Yard Youths, and I'm going to give you a bit of insight.
Talk to me.
That centre half that's playing for Hanover,
Bailey,
is ready-made.
Yeah, he's good. He's good, yeah.
That's the big standout I'd have from that game.
Well, Aaron's hat-trick was
well, he's always going to score.
He's a young lad. He's
also
going to America in the summer, David, on it.
Is he?
Yeah, on scholarship, yeah. He's
It's a great way to go now.
It's
super,
brilliant. It's a great road.
But he scored a brilliant hat trick. He's 30-something goals this year. He's only a chap, but I have him in the first team as well.
And is he in Carlow IT? Is he?
No, he's in school. He's in sixth year.
He's still in school.
Sixth year, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
when that finishes, he's off to America. And
What uni is he going to?
I think it's Minnesota he's going to.
Lovely.
Yeah. He's going to play with Minnesota. I'm not sure.
Big business, right?
Massive.
I worked in it for a while.
Yeah.
That's for soccer. Wow.
Yeah. I know a couple, there's a company called Tor.
Okay.
They do a lot of stuff. John Giles' grandson.
Okay.
owns it, and he's bringing a lot of Irish kids over to, and UK, over
Massive
to
market.
the scholarships in America.
It's the way to go, isn't it?
Like, yeah, do you know what? I think it is an amazing way to go, because you're getting your education and you're getting your, something to give you a bit of stability on. 'Cause
Absolutely,
the biggest thing in football is the insecurity around it,
Yeah.
If you don't have football, a lot of lads don't have anything else to fall back on. So it gives you at least a solid platform to build.
If it doesn't work out, you have your education, go a different avenue, sort of,
It gives you a lot of freedom in your game.
For sure. In the youth division, took a final that was on Saturday. Parkville won, Vela Wonders 4. Congratulations, Vela Wonders. That's a double for them, Pop, in Division 2 youths.
Fair play, lads.
In the ladies league, this is on the Friday. Vale 2, Crittayard 2, top of the table clash, or in around it, I think. And then on Thursday, Pats played Kilree, and Pats won 9-0 against Kilree. Clear missing a few, fought hard, missing a few. We got a few good goals. And that kind of sets us up now. 3 wins from Forde, David, and the club wins the league for the first time in 20-something years.
Magic.
It's heating up, man.
Yeah.
It's heating up. Anyway, that's the...
Things are looking up.
Yeah, things are looking up. Yeah, we're going the right direction. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Only way is down now.
Keep you grounded.
Yeah, because listen, you work so hard to get there.
Yeah.
You forget how steep it is.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Enjoy the view. Like,
100%.
Enjoy it for a while.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We do a few questions for you. We'll start with the book, right? So the book opens with a very vivid recognition of a game against Scotland in Celtic Park,
wasn't it?
Yes.
Like it's like when I was reading it, I couldn't believe how vivid it was. It's almost like I was there.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Welcome to Paradise, it's called.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Celtic Park is Welcome to Paradise. And for myself, as a football fan growing up, being in Liverpool, the 80s, 90s, all the Irish players, and then you always had a club. Well, I did anyhow. I had my club in England was Liverpool. My club in Scotland was
we get on well, David, me and you.
Celtic. My club in Ireland was Galway United.
Yeah.
Madrid was my Real
Spanish
Madrid was
club.
my Spanish club.
Juventus
Inter
was
Milan.
Inter, okay.
Inter, yeah. So I had a club. Club
Yeah.
everywhere, like, And sure, if I kept talking, I'd be around the world, and sure, the podcast would be over. Like, Sao Paulo,
Houston Kickers, correct?
yeah. New York Cosmos.
The Ottawa Giants were a great side back in the early 80s.
Yeah. Did Pele play for them as well?
Yeah.
So Celtic was always, close to my heart as a young kid, and the connections with Packy and the Irish players all through the years, and just a history and tradition of the club. So when I started writing, that when I first started getting into writing, I didn't know I could actually write. And the funny thing is, I actually wrote the book myself. Initially, I met my mentor back in 2010, 2011. And I was going through a difficult time in my career. And I was like, right, I'm doing the best job in the world. I'm not enjoying it. And this is all I've ever wanted to do. And the pressures and the expectations and everything else started to build up on me. And I said, right, I need to start, doing something. I need to start to look after my mind, and because it's all about the mind and the psychological aspect. So, met the gentleman, and I'll get into the story later on.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I was told, you can write, and I was thinking, Jesus, I went to school and it was basically Anne and Barry back then.
Yeah.
I am man, you are Barry, first person.
Yeah.
The cat's in the tree, who's in the tree?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the dog.
The tack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I didn't realise I had that kind of hidden ability and that hidden potential to write. So I met a ghostwriter, started meeting him when I go for the Irish teams in the Portmarnock Hotel. We'd go down for a cup of coffee.
Just your own little thing, sort of, yeah.
Yeah. I said, look, go and meet this man, and at least just tell your story.
Yeah.
So I started telling my story to this man, he dictaphoned it, started writing the story, and I didn't even know how the process of books work.
Yeah.
So I was just telling him a story, going through the whole thing. And it was very beneficial because it was very cathartic. There was a chance to just express and get it out. And even though it wasn't actually going anywhere, it was amazing the dimensions it brought to inside myself. So lo and behold, maybe a couple of years later, there was a few chapters kind of written, and he wanted to introduce me to a book agent and publishers and different things. Obviously, they had their own agenda and they wanted to kind of sensationalize and tell kiss and tell stories.
Yeah,
and I was
sure.
like, that's not my nature. I want to tell a story that is a story about me and my journey,
Right.
and how that can actually help others. Because I had a vision a long time ago that around mentality and well-being, and I knew that years to come that this is going to be the future. So I started looking at from a long time previously before that, psychology, well-being, sociology, different cultures, therapy. I started looking at all those different dimensions for a long, long time. So I started writing the book, met this gentleman, and then I went, right, he's not really capturing the way I want to bring it. So I met another gentleman, and it was great because it brought me into another dimension inside myself. Then I realised that he had his agenda, and where he wanted to bring it wasn't aligning with me.
Did you meet the second lad by fluke? Or
Actually, someone introduced me to him. Someone
Right.
I knew said to me, he goes, oh, I'm in a bit of a roadblock here. And they said, look, meet this person, speak
Right.
to him, see how you get on. So that was fair enough. Met him, did a little bit for a few months or whatever. But the beauty was like what I was saying, it brought me into the kind of deeper depths of myself, of my own emotions.
Would you have been emotionally aware previous to that? Or did it take that guru moment to make you...
I was emotionally illiterate. I was an absolute Neanderthal when it came to an emotion.
Absolutely.
Like I was like, an emotion, what?
Yeah.
You know, my mentor came up to me the first time and he put his hand on me when I first met him, big paw on my chest, and he started rubbing it. And he goes, I'll make a man out of you. And I went like that. Oh, you fucking make a man out of you.
Yeah.
Sorry, shouldn't be using the excuse.
No,
the
you
French.
can curse there,
you
man.
can this,
Yeah.
You can curse all you
And
want.
I said,
Just put €2 in the box. One.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It'll be full by the time you get out.
Yeah.
A big tail box of €2 kind.
Yeah, you sound like I'm at home here. The young lad is always on to me, your language, Dad.
Yeah.
I said, I'm Irish.
Yeah, give me a break.
Exactly, you get away with it.
Yeah.
We're the only country in the world, I think, gets away with bad language. Like,
Yeah.
I love the way you say that, man.
Yeah.
And so, where was I? Started getting into it, and he said, I'm making money. And I was thinking, I have a house, I have a car, I have kids, I have a
professional
wife.
footballer, like.
Professional footballer, I am the man.
Yeah.
But yet I was so angry. You know, I mean, anger and rage, like I was at the right club, Millwall.
Yeah, for sure.
And I didn't actually realise that anger was actually an emotion, being totally honest. That's how far removed I was from
What would you
understanding
have
that.
described it as then, if you didn't know it was an emotion?
I would have just thought it was just the way I was. Or
Yeah, I get it.
I
Yeah.
would. I
Is
didn't. I
it the
didn't
old
identify it as a state.
Is it the old one where he has a temper?
That's it.
Is it
It was.
that one?
It was more of a trait. It
Yeah,
was more like
I
just
get you.
who I am. That's who he is. He's an angry man,
Yeah, he has a temper.
and everybody identified that. Yeah, you just don't want to bring Jekyll and Hyde out.
Yeah.
You know, nice guy and all that, but if you poke that
him,
bear, like it was DEFCON 5, you know, absolute nuclear. And so then I started to explore those elements around emotional intelligence and well-being, and I started to realise, right, this is some serious stuff here. I'm starting to learn a lot about myself. So lo and behold, met the gentleman. He wanted me to go into sensationalising stories, kind of kiss and tell stories, and I was like, that's not the change room is such a sacred place.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
it is, yeah.
Whether it's in grassroots football, whether it's in professional football, whether it's world champions, whether it's, whatever level, the change room is the change room. It's such a special environment. And I was always along that lines of, what happens in the change room stays in the change room. And I turned around one day and I started to practice meditation. Started getting into meditation and chanting, into pranayama, deep breathing techniques, and all those different yogic sciences. And I started really, really investing in this. And I thought, right, this is the game changer. This is something that's really going to change my performance. And I went from being, League One up into the Championship. All of a sudden, I'm Ireland's #1
Nuts.
and getting man the match for Ireland, and my performance just went through the roof, and everyone was like,
Where'd this guy come from?
where'd this guy
That was
come
my my mindset.
Yeah.
Like David Forde.
Yeah.
What did it help you? Blocking things out, just staying in the moment.
Yeah, it's been so present.
Yeah.
I describe it
no
like,
matter what stadium you're in, you're like, I have it.
I'm here.
I'm okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, do you ever see the Paddy Power ad?
Yeah.
Where they have the stadium and they start taking it away, and
Yeah.
it's just a pitch.
Yeah.
And I remember being in Wembley Stadium for Ireland in 2015. The manager was Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, correct.
And Roy Hodgson commented after the game. He said, Millwall goalie tonight was probably one of the best players on the pitch, and he was the only player to be wearing black boots. And I remember that game that there was
Did he say
90.
that, yeah?
He did, yeah. I remember it clearly. Yeah, my mate sent it to me afterwards. And it was 93 or 94,000 at the game. And it was the first time we played at Wembley since Lansdowne
Correct,
in
96.
96 or
Correct.
97.
Yeah, Shane Long scored a winner, right?
Yeah. So we come in on the bus and you drive down in under Wembley. It's like going into the Coliseum. Yeah, and we drive down in under the stadium, fans everywhere, and we drive under the stadium, pitch black, and you come out in through the tunnel, and we come up to the door, and normally the door is open, there's a security guard, go on in lads, there's never any blocks.
Yeah.
Next thing they were like, we have to get this door open, they haven't opened the door. There was a code.
No way.
So we're waiting there anyhow, and your man radios up and he's like, 10-4, 10-4, I'm down to change rooms aren't open, what's the code? Next thing your man goes over the tannoy, 1997. Well, fuck me. The boys were like, he showered. We just it just gave us that bit more edge there. That's all we needed. Yeah. So we put in 1997, get into the changing room, and that was that. So we ended up drawing 1-1. Frank Lampard scored. Longy scored that unreal header.
Yeah, cracker of a header, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a great night, but going back to my point of during that game, I could hear the players and the conversations, the referee, everyone talking, and there was 93,000.
No.
That's how much focus and concentration.
That's nuts.
In the zone, yeah.
Because it's a cauldron, like, it is low, when it's going, like, it's designed like that, right?
Absolutely.
That's,
Yeah. So that level of
That's
being able
how
to
powerful
focus
you
your
were in
mind.
your head then at that time,
you could get your mind into that space. The only thing was I couldn't do it for long enough.
Do you know what's weird about that, David, right? But that didn't get you to the party.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So imagine that was something you would have invested in earlier in your career.
Exactly.
Like, do you know?
Exactly.
Is that kind of a cross you have to bear, or are you just like, I'm glad I found it anyway?
Well, I had to discover it.
Yeah.
And when I discovered it, there was often parts of me where coming towards the end of my career, I was like, geez, I wish I wasn't so stupid or so foolish. I met my wife. My grandmother used to always say, you'll meet your wife at a wedding.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, mate, I was called Pat Turkey, was a postman.
Yeah.
And I was a postman.
Are you a postman as well?
I used to be, yeah.
Story.
We got
Liverpool on
it's like a
post.
GK
Inter Milan.
You know what it is?
GK Union, and we got
You want to see the hands
post.
combining? The hands coming together. Papa's like
Exactly,
a 6-year-old's hand, and David's
You look
like
like a man that handles letters.
Yeah. I tell you, handle packages. Look at that.
yeah. An action man, the Barbie doll.
Yeah, exactly. My hands were too big
We'll have
for
to get a
letters.
picture now,
The
yeah,
too
right,
delicate
yeah.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
So, where was I going with that? So anyhow, Pat Turk, I went back for the off-season with West Ham. And my mate Pat Turk was, he was going to a wedding. He had a +1. And he said to me, we always have the crack saying that we were the original wedding crashers.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So he says, come to the wedding. I didn't even have a suit. So I went into River Island in the middle of Shop Street in Galway, bought this suit. Worst shirt and tie you've ever seen. Yeah. And I think it was like check. And, it's shocking.
One of them, they call him a daddy don't.
What's a
daddy don't? Yeah. Daddy don't make me wear that shirt.
Yeah. Well, this was Mammy and Daddy shirt. Mammy and Daddy don't wear it. Yeah. So, got the suit, went to the wedding, and next thing, I meet my wife at the wedding in the Galway Bay Hotel. So we had absolutely great crack at the wedding and stuff. So I've lost the thread where I was going with that story. Can you remind
Thanks,
me?
Papa.
No, yeah. It's the postman thing.
Yeah. Can anyone remind me?
No, you were. So we're talking about.
The regret.
This is a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like we're having a few pints down the local.
I think we were going when you were like. you discovered the kind of well-beingness later, and we're talking about that. You had it earlier, and then you spoke about your granny saying that you met. So I presume your wife was kind of a key in calming you down, right? Is that where we're going?
Yeah. No, I was going to say the opposite.
Okay.
She put the fuel on the fire.
Yeah.
I can't remember I was going with that. Too many concussions.
Yeah.
I've had about 15 concussions. So
how big are they now? How highlighted are they now?
Concussion then?
Well, it was big.
Now.
It's big now. It was big a few years ago, and it seems to have kind of quietened down a little bit, like, you know. But it is a big thing.
I remember doing a coaching course in rugby. I actually have a coaching badge in rugby, and you have to pass a concussion test. Yeah. To get not the IBIC, but you have to do so you can spot the signs of it and all that. But it's a big thing. NFL, it's a big thing, right?
Yeah, huge rugby, the whole 9 yards. I played at Fratton Park one night. Okay. And I've come and I've taken a corner on the penalty spot, and we were playing Morecambe or something. Guy called Mullen came in under my legs. I've held onto the ball, smashed my head off the turf. It's not the Mullen that's with that's
go away, Paul Mullen.
Paul Mullen. That's him with Wrexham.
Okay, good player that lad.
So I've held onto the ball and I'm lying on the floor and I'm out cold, and the physio comes running on. And next thing, the smelling salts and all that, and I wake up and I don't know where I am. And he's like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "Football, stadium, lights." And he says, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm grand." And he says, "I'll have to take you off protocol."
Yeah, you have to come off. Yeah.
And I started saying to him, "If you try to take me off this pitch, I'm going to knock you clean out." I knew that part.
Yeah.
Because I'm not coming off this pitch because we were going for promotion, League 2 at the time. And next thing I said, "What happened?" And he said, "You know who hit you?" And I was just like, that's all I could utter. Yeah. But anyhow,
fuck's sake,
he left me on the pitch. I drove home that night 85 miles up the M3, around the M25 into Kent, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and I didn't remember the game. I didn't remember driving home. I didn't actually barely my name the next morning.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And it was a pretty serious concussion, all right, yeah. So every now and again, my mind evades me, so I think that's what just happened there.
Yeah.
Is there something with Kevin Doyle as well? Was there something with Kevin?
Fault, no.
No, it's his fault.
I'll take the blame. I don't mind that.
Is there something with Kevin Doyle as well, just on concussions? There's something where he had to kind of stop heading the ball and he started getting flashes
when he went over
to
Colorado, wasn't it?
Correct,
he went over to Colorado, and there was. Then I think he retired shortly after that.
He was kind of advised to. Yeah.
But anyhow, but going back anyhow to what were we saying? We were talking about the.
We're talking about a lot of things, David. There's a lot more things to talk about.
There is. That's true. We'll find the thread.
Do you know what it is, right? You speak about your childhood and the upbringing in the book. It's very clear that's the foundation of your story. Yeah. It's evident, right? From what you say about your mum, your dad, your family, how tight you were with your brothers. It's I felt reading and thinking that it doesn't matter where this goes, this is the seed. Yes. This is the foundation, this is the seed. Tell me about your childhood and how you got into soccer. Your earliest memory. I know Hibs was your first club in Galway, right?
It was Newcastle United at the time. Yeah. And then I went to, I spent a year at Belvedere up in Dublin under 15. Nuts. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, yeah. 14 years of age, going up every weekend up to Dublin on the train or the bus.
I read about being taken away your room to go rob tyres.
Yeah. Down to Quick Fit. Yeah. I hope Quick Fit's not looking.
I think they're actually gone.
Yeah. But not your sponsors about any sense
not anymore.
Exactly.
How important is that? We'll get to Belvedere because I think that's nuts anyway. But how important is family to you? Is it your base? Do you feel that's your base of everything? The way you were brought up?
Absolutely, yeah. Family to me is absolutely everything. What I began to realise is that we're all a product of our circumstances and our environment. Mm-hmm. So when I started to write the book and I started to see the impact my childhood had upon me as a man, as a person that was a performer or someone that was an elite goalkeeper at the time. And even though I was playing at an elite level, inside myself I never felt I was at that level. My own self-worth and self-esteem was having major issues, and I was having a major battle with myself. People would always say, you're 6'4", full of muscle, full of power, and being a big man and a big presence. And even though I would have showed that and held that mask and showed that to people, but inside I felt so small inside myself. And then that's when I started to look at well, what was the roots of my self-esteem and my self-worth, and if I had, like what we said earlier on, if I had developed that earlier.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, you know, that's where I was going with that story, meeting my wife. We're back in the groove. I knew it would come back.
Keep going, Ross.
So yeah. I'm on a roll. And so next thing, I meet my wife, and then do you know when you meet your wife and you have friends, and then you meet their husbands and everything, you become friends with them. It's like a new layer of friendship starts. It's like an onion.
Yeah.
So we get invited to. It was Gillian Gabby, my Ali's best friend. And he's into show jumping. He was a serious show jumper around Ali, Gabby Corliss. And they built a house down in town in Oramore. So I went out to that party, and I'm sitting in there. I'm come back from West Ham. I have a leather jacket on, white t-shirt, pair of jeans, white Stan Smiths.
Like the Fonz.
Like the Fonz, yeah. All I was missing was the long hair from my hands through it.
The bee's knees.
The bee's knees, the Fonz.
Sure.
I thought it was the nuts, like.
Yeah.
You know, and the funny thing was, I was on, at that time, I signed my contract at West Ham on £1,500 a week. Bearing in mind, 6 months earlier, I was at Galway United earning, we used to call it fitty, which was 50 basic, 50 appearance.
No way.
I was in GMIT trying to do industrial engineering. I didn't even know what a T-square was. It was the only course I could get into. It was 275 points. So I said, right, at least I get in there and be doing something.
Yeah.
So I'd be sitting in class. I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and then I was merchandising for Coca-Cola and Cadbury's. I had a white, like, doctor's jacket in under my thing, cycling on my bike to Dunn Stores, Tesco. Yeah, while I was training Tuesday, Thursday night, playing on a Friday evening. And I love League of Ireland. I love playing on a Friday night. It's the best night. And I miss those days. Yeah. People ask me, what do I miss about football? I miss playing League of Ireland.
Yeah.
I love League of Ireland. I love playing on a Friday. And I loved how it was just so local. It's like a world in its own, League of Ireland.
It's not big now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. So I'm in at the party, and this life coach comes up to me, and he looks at me. So this is 2000 and...
Unheard of, right?
Yeah, this man was like way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know there was life coaches.
Yeah.
And now here I am today, borderline as a life coach.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, you could do X, Y, and Z, and da-da-da-da-da, and if you look at this and you do that, and check your mind, and, you know, your emotional body, and all these different things. And I'm there like a man out with the Heineken ad digging into the bucket. My arm is red raw. So the Heineken, I'm smashing the Heineken again, you know, looking at him going, I think you need a life coach.
Yeah.
I'm on £1,500 a week.
You have issues, man.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I met it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought £1,500 was, you know, but then beneath it all, I was thinking, well, am I even going to get a next contract? It was just all false sense of security. And I didn't even have the awareness at the time in terms of your question is, how did that evolve and develop inside myself? Yeah. It was like I had it was like an illusion or a layer that didn't allow me to see.
Have you met it? Is this the illusion you're creating that, without the mindfulness, I'm at West Ham, I've met it.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens around me here now, I'm on £1,500 a week.
Yeah.
This is what every footballer does. I fucking met it.
Yeah, I've met it, I'm earning 3 times, 4 times, probably more than 5 times more than what my dad is earning.
Yeah, crazy.
At that time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, right, I've absolutely...
I'm home and hose there,
I'm home and hose. But yet, I was still only like maybe 3rd, 4th choice. David James was #1 goalkeeper, who was England #1 at the time. Yeah. Who was a male model for Armani.
Yeah.
I'm probably, you know, carrying a bit of body fat.
Yeah, you're a merchandiser.
Getting in beside him. Coca-Cola. Carrying a little Ned Kelly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Derby on you.
Yeah. Even getting into the shower was hard enough. Do you know what I mean?
The way Larry one goes before I get in.
Yeah.
Searching to get this call.
Yeah. Hi, Ma, is that you? Yeah. So even that was a challenge, like at the training ground. So yeah, looking at all those parts within inside myself and trying to keep up appearances, and everybody had this view of, you know, you've hit the big time, you've hit the jackpot, but you're absolutely nowhere near the top.
But is that because as well your entourage will be telling you that you've hit the big time with the jackpot, because they don't understand success either, right? So it's friends, especially
people who've not in that circle, say, they haven't played at your level, said, look what you're earning towards us. You've met it.
100%.
You actually haven't met it.
Exactly.
And the reality is they're giving you wrong advice because they actually want to be you as well.
Absolutely, you're the hero.
Yeah.
You're the one that's got out of. You're the one that's broke free. You're the
And
one
that
that's got across the river.
That can influence you as well then, right? Because there's,
Yeah.
well, 90% of your friends think I've met it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Why would it change things?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're over there and you're just thinking, right, what's next? And then you're playing reserve team football, which was great. But then 99% of the time, I was just left to my own thoughts. Going back to me apartment, or I was rented apartment, then I bought an apartment. And, you know, go back there in the afternoon from 2 or 3 o'clock. You'd be sleeping half the evening just to waste some time. Eat in the evening. Then you were eating, you should have been sleeping. When you were sleeping, you should have been eating.
Yeah.
And your whole cycle was upside down.
Whacked.
Yeah, so then I wasn't getting bed till late at night. And it was around that time the internet started to come out.
Yeah.
So then I remember like going onto the internet, and you remember the dial
Bebo.
code, and you'd be there. Yeah, Bebo, yeah. Probably still have an account that's open.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
check it, see if it's alive.
MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace.
Yeah.
That's rolling back
Send
the
me your
years.
loves, man.
Yeah. So getting into that at the time, and that's when I started to kind of research different cultures and different heritages, and I started really going in deep at looking at from that age in my 20s. So it was useful in a way, but on the other side of it, the loneliness and the isolation. And I remember speaking to my brother on the phone and borderline crying on the phone, and he was like, "Oh, kind of, you're grand, keep it going."
David, it's a standout thing, but
Yeah.
it's a standout thing for people at that age, similar to you in a club, especially people who aren't English. It's a standout thing.
Exactly. And it's a different culture. You're coming from the English culture, the Irish culture meets the English culture.
It's completely different.
Different way of doing things.
Time is
And
dangerous for the mind.
Absolutely.
Time and space is dangerous for the mind.
And
You
idle
gotta be
mind's a
active,
devil's
don't you?
playground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Idle mind is a devil's playground. And it had its bonuses, but it also had its hindrances.
Yeah. I would hope nowadays that it's in a better place, right, for people in that. I know Irish kids aren't going to 18 now because outside the EU and all the crack, but I would hope that it's in a better space now for lads on my taste, or lads who are, similar age to you, who are maybe third choice or fourth choice keeper or whatever. I hope there's more for them or more supports for them compared to when you were there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, look, I get that. And, that was a big problem with myself when I was younger, thinking that clubs could have done more. But there's a great saying, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it.
no, you said it, yeah.
You can bring people to all the support that they want, but unless that person actually takes ownership of it
Yeah.
and actually says, well, I need to reach out, I need help, I need support. So it's just as much as important for the player, for the individual, in any walk of life, not just in sport, in any walk of life, for them to actually turn around and say, actually, I need to take ownership, I need to do something about this.
But there's definitely a mentoring space for someone to take a mentoring role in clubs to occupy.
Yeah, and there is clubs are beginning to do that, but definitely from the transition of being Irish and going over, it's a whole different mindset.
It's hard, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, it is difficult. It's difficult for young men to be doing that, and I do think Brexit is great. I do think that not going over till they're 18.
It's a big help, I think, isn't
How
it?
many people do you know that went over at 14 or 15 and came back absolutely broken men?
We've had them sitting here.
Exactly, yeah. And
There's a few more to come too.
I've played and I've played with some players and some goalkeepers that were better goalkeepers than me, had more ability and more talent. And oftentimes I say that, and I have to kind of grab myself and actually say, well, don't do yourself a disjustice.
Yeah.
Neither, because my one of my biggest strengths was my discipline and my mindset, and that's also a skill, and that's also an ability that gets overlooked.
Are you
It's not
curious?
just- Oh, very.
Are you a curious person?
Yeah,
I
very,
get that vibe.
Yeah, very, yeah.
Were you always curious?
Always,
Yeah.
always, yeah. I was always thinking that there was something more, something deeper.
I think you need the curiosity to find yourself, do you?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. But then they say curiosity killed the cat, like.
Yeah, but you're not a
Thankfully,
cat.
I'm not a cat, like. Yeah, exactly.
You're not
Yeah.
a cat. You peppered the lines all right. but
Yeah,
you're not a
exactly.
cat.
Yeah. The irony, yeah.
How long were you at
Exactly.
West Ham then, David?
I was at West Ham for 2001, 2004. So I was
And
with there
that
2.5
was-
years.
That was, would I be fair to say that was a kind of a journey of luck through Barry?
You could say, look, yeah.
To tell me what you think it was. It was your journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what you think of it.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, how it actually did happen was actually quite funny. I'd gone over for the first time to Barry, and I'd signed £350 sterling at the week, or Peter Nicholas, the ex-Chelsea
Yeah.
player in Arsenal, Wales legend.
Yeah.
He was the manager.
Yeah.
Nico,
Oh,
he was
right,
a
was he?
lunatic. Yeah, he was crazy. And I went into Barrytown and he goes, I'll be back in a minute, son. Just wait there. And I thought he was going to get the contract or whatever. He walks back in with a pint.
No way.
Yeah.
Smashing a pint, and he said, there's your contract. And I'm looking over, he's necking this pint, a really sunny day, pair of shorts on him. And I just seen it at the end, £350, bearing in mind I was on 50-50.
Yeah.
And a few little,
50-50 is brilliant, isn't it?
50-50, yeah. And the funny thing was, we used to get it in a brown envelope
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And we'd have to go back to the River Inn, just opposite the hospital in Galway.
Yeah.
And sure, by the time we left there on the Friday night, we'd have given it back.
Yeah, into the river.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Such a different culture now, isn't it then?
exactly,
towards now?
yeah. So then getting over then to Peter Nicholas, signed the contract for Barrytown. I signed in the Mayor de June, get into the Champions League qualifiers. We had a great adventure around. We went to Azerbaijan, went to Portugal. They were like, some of the stories along that where there's a book in them alone in themselves. So I'm playing a game coming up to Christmas. It's my first time moving home. My grandmother, who I more or less lived with, was my absolute hero. She was such a woman, and amazing lady. And she had just passed away just before that. So then me moving away, my grandmother had passed away. So homesick. All the rest, missing friends, missing
All
family.
gathers stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Because they're
always-
all going out on a Friday night, or they're going to a wedding, they're going to a party, and it's like you're missing out on everything.
Yeah.
And so that was challenging. It was coming up to my first Christmas being away, and I wasn't even able to go home because we played on Boxing Day and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the pressure was kind of building and building. So we played first v second. We were first or second at the time. And I don't know, was it Oswestry Town or TNS or someone like that was top of the league. Colwyn Bay or whoever it was. And my mate Ryan Casey was at Swansea at the time, who was the assistant manager now at Sligo Rovers.
Okay.
So he's at home watching his mate live on BBC Wales on the evening kickoff, and he's like telling the lads at Swansea, "This is my mate from Galway, my best mate. Like he's playing for Barrytown tonight." So they're all sitting in watching the game. So the game goes on. It's maybe 20-30 minutes into the game, and Lee Jarman, the centre half, who was formerly at Cardiff, he was bigger. He was 6'5", 6'6", big man, big solid Welsh man, and he plays the ball back to me. Absolute 70-30 at best to the centre forward.
Oh, no.
Absolute hospital ball.
No way.
Hospital ball. And I come tearing out with the goal, managed to clear it. Man comes in, studs up. I do a 360, land it over to him, and I jump back up and I say, "What? Yeah, down.
Yeah.
You just nearly got me leg broke."
Yeah.
And he went, "Sure, get back into goal," and he pushed me. I said, "Don't push me." And he pushed me, and I went, bang. Absolutely fucking lamped him. Knocked him.
Live on telly.
Live on telly. Yeah. And all my mates were just thinking, like, this is definitely going to be on Question of Sport. Like, what happens next?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
I just lamped my own teammate.
Fucking
Referee
hell.
comes fucking sprinting over.
Red card, right? Yeah.
Oh, red. Yeah. Red card. I'm like, oh my God, my whole career is just done. I'm done now.
In 10 seconds, yeah.
In 10 seconds.
Shit.
Just a moment of absolute madness, like.
Yeah.
So I'm walking off the pitch back to the change room, in the change room, and I'm just like...
Was he senior to you in regards of age? Like, how old were you this time?
I was about 21.
How old is this guy?
He's probably maybe 23 or 4,
Oh,
25
so
maybe.
he wasn't like a 32 or 3-year-old.
Yeah, he wasn't a senior pro.
Same demographic.
Yeah. Within...
Yeah.
Well,
saying that, he could have been that age.
Yeah, but you're just saying to him, fucking take responsibility, man.
Yeah, you nearly got my leg broken.
Say sorry.
Yeah, just
Was
be
it
like...
bad?
Don't push me.
Yeah, don't push me, yeah.
Fair play for hitting him.
And then he pushed me twice, and I was like, right.
No.
Yeah.
No, what happened the third
Then
time?
the right hook came out.
Yeah.
And then the red card came, and then I was sat in the change room lowering the snake's belly. I was like, geez, that's me football career over. And I was like, you know what, I'm done with football, I'm done with being away. Right, I'd made my mind up, all right, I'm going back to Ireland.
Yeah.
I gone back to we had a digs called 39 Craddock Avenue. It was around the corner from where the stadium was, Jenner Park. And one of the lads used to say it was that bad now. They used to call it the Big Brother house because you'd always have trialists or hobos or anyone coming off the street and stay there. It was so basic. And when the lads used to say that the rats used to have to wear overcoats, it was dog rough. It was brutal. And I went in one day boiling a pot of spuds, and all the lads who came in, there was about 12 of them in the house, and they're all looking over me going, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Boiling spuds." I missed the spuds.
Yeah, one of spuds. Yeah,
like, you can't be boiling potatoes.
Yeah.
I was like, lads, you never boiled the spuds. Yeah, what are you on about? Like, this has sustained us for the last 1,000 years. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, they thought I was lunatic. Like, they thought I was mad. And so that evening, the team doctor even came out. Like, I still can't think of her name. She was a hero. She actually checking up on me. She was like, "Are you actually all right?" And at the time, I knew I wasn't all right, but I was just like, "Yeah, I'm grand."
Yeah.
So next morning, the manager calls me up to the office. He says, "Right, gotta come into the office." Kenny Brown, actually, his dad was Kenny Brown Senior.
Yeah.
Kenny Brown Junior played for West Ham. So Kenny Brown, Peter Nicholas had gone on to manage Swansea or be assistant at Swansea. Kenny Brown Junior got the manager's job. So he calls me into the office and he starts giving me the riot act. "That's an absolute disgrace. Can't be having that in my changing room. Can't be hitting your own players." Going absolutely ham. And I'm just there looking at him, and it's just, I don't even know what he's saying to me.
Yeah.
I just know that he's going ham. And it's going in one ear, out the other, because I'm already on the ferry. I'm already on the plane
you're
back to Galway. I'm gone.
Fast forward here, please.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm over here.
Yeah. So then he turns around and he says, "I have to find you 2 weeks' wages." And I say, "You can have the whole contract. I'm off back home." I never seen a guy do a handbrake turn in all my life. Whoa. Hang on a second there.
Did I say 2 weeks?
Yeah. He was like,
a bonus?
He was like Coventry, Millwall, West Ham, QPR, Portsmouth, all the clubs that I played at, all the clubs I went to were there watching me.
No way.
At that game. I swear to God, yeah. Honest to God, yeah. And he did the ultimate handbrake turn because he knew then I was worth a few quid.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he was like, "Right, look, right, we'll say no more.
We'll call it quits.
We'll call it quits. Yeah. You can have your 2 weeks back.
Yeah.
You can have your 700 quid back." He goes, "Go down and pack your bags." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "I'm driving you down to West Ham now. You're going down there for 2 weeks." But he says, "You can't say a word." He says, "Don't tell no one. You hit your own player, hit your own centre half. You can't say nothing to nobody." And I was like, not a word. So I was like,
I hope they weren't watching BBC Wales, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I go down, pack me bag, and I come back up. Next thing, I'm in his E-Class Merc, and we're nailing down the M4, down the M25, down into West Ham. Monday morning, I'm training at West Ham. Tuesday morning, I'm training at West Ham. Glenn Roeder pulls me into his office on the Wednesday and goes, "We want to sign you."
After 2 sessions? Well, 2 days, yeah.
2 days, three sessions.
Three or 4 sessions, yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "We want to sign you." And I'm like, what's actually happening here? Like, it was like worst thing. So the worst thing I ever did became the best thing. So you can call it luck.
Absolutely.
Or divine intervention or
you were
whatever
never,
you want to call it.
You never had an agent?
I did.
At that time?
At that time, I didn't have an agent, no.
How did you know your worth when you're negotiating with West Ham there now? How did you know your worth?
Well, what happened was when I was at Galway United, I became very friendly with a left side of centre half, Scott Morgan, who Donna Reardon signed from Weymouth, who was at Bournemouth, and his dad was a gentleman called Stuart Morgan, and Stuart was Harry Redknapp's chief scout. He was Harry Redknapp's assistant when he was Bournemouth manager originally.
Okay.
So Stuart had a career, played for Colchester. He boxed for Wales. He was a solid man.
Yeah.
So Scott came over then.
To negotiate.
Yeah, and lo and behold, Stuart had come over to see his son for a couple of weekends. And he always said to Scott, he said, "Who's that keeper? He's definitely got something." So he was looking at me and he was kind of thinking, right, this goalie has definitely got something. Right. But you're playing in the League of Ireland, you're playing in the West of Ireland. Who's going to see you?
The wrong side of the country.
Scott was having contract difficulties. I was having contract difficulties with Galway United at the time. They offered me 50-50 again. And the chairman at the time turned around and he says, "You can stay packing shelves." Well, I newly threw the chair. I was saying, "You think I'm a shelf fucking packer?"
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. And
Yeah.
I walked out the front door.
Yeah.
And it was one of them, UPVC doors. I tried to slam it and it wouldn't close. It kept opening up. And I'm there outside trying to bang the door closed.
Anyone WD 40 here? A tin of it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to make an impact here.
Yeah. Trying to slam the door and walk off. And I'm still here and I'm trying to put the handle up.
Fuck's
And then
sake.
I go outside the door and I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? Like I used to do some really impulsive stuff. And I'm outside the door going, geez, I got £20 in my pocket.
Nuts.
That's all I've got left. And I thought, right, I've got two choices here. I either walk back in with the tail between my legs or I keep walking. And I kept walking. I walked all the way from Salt Hill into town.
Yeah,
and
good walk.
I went on and on. Yeah, it was a good walk, yeah. Especially when you're thinking, geez, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
So I went on the session anyhow. Went on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday night. I think he could even got scraped Monday night.
Roll
as
over.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I woke up the next morning and there was bunk beds. We lived in a terraced house in a council estate in Shanna Park, 110 in Shanna Park. And it was an amazing place to grow up. But anyhow, I wake up the next morning and my brother was in the top bunk. He was gone to work. I don't know where my younger brother was gone. There was no one in the house. And, you know, the absolute net curtains back then and stuff. So I get up and I start looking out the net curtains and I'm looking down. There was a big green in front of us and Dunn Stores was further down and Bransky's pub and all that. And I'm looking up and I see my neighbour, Vinny Dad, who's a settled traveller. And they live 2 doors down from us. And he's walking up the green, absolutely mouldy.
Che Guevara.
Oh, yeah.
Trans-monglified is the word.
Trans-monglified. Yeah, I love that. I haven't heard that one. Yeah. He is trans-monglified.
Yeah.
And he's making a beeline up towards the green. And they had a pony that used to be in a stake out eating the grass out the front of the green. They used to call him, there was 2 of them actually, Star and Philly. So the comeback, this is like into the West, like this is like riding bareback.
Yeah.
This is like
Tato.
Do you remember Tato?
Yeah.
Tato. So next thing he comes up to the horse, and I'm sick now. I'm sick as 40 pigs. I'm like, Jesus, what am I doing with my life here? Like, you know, just the one thing with Galway United was my dream was just to play at Terryland. That was about the height of it back then. That was Mecca. That was getting to Wembley.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So next thing he comes up to the top of the green, and he catches hold of the horse by the head. And he starts having a full-blown conversation with this horse. I mean to say a full-blown conversation, as if he was talking to us, like we're talking here.
Nuts.
And I'm like that going, oh my God, I need a one time, like I was like, jeez, God, give me something here.
Yeah.
And I sat back down the end of the bed in me jocks. I'm sat on the end of the bed like this, and I had a Nokia 3210 or one of those old bricks.
Playing Snake on it.
Yeah, playing Snake. Yeah. I was that sick I couldn't even play Snake.
Yeah.
I got too dizzy.
Yeah.
So I left it there, and I'm sitting on the end of the bed, and I'm like, "Oh, jeez, God!" I said, "Give a man a hand here. Like, give me a one time, like, you know."
Yeah.
And next thing, my phone rings, and I pick it up, and it was an English number, and I was half thinking, "Jesus,
Scam.
Yeah. I was thinking, what's actually happening here? Who is this? I was half afraid English number. I was like, am I going to get arrested by MI5 or something?
Yeah.
So next thing I answered the phone.
Different accent.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello, Mrs. Bouquet.
Yeah.
Oh, Sheridan.
If you find David, tell him I'm looking for him as well, will you?
Brilliant.
So I'm there and I answer the phone and he's like, this is hey David, it's Stuart Morgan here, Scott's dad. I was like, Jane Stuart. He goes, do you want to come to Barrytown? I went, yeah, done. Because before I used to find it hard going to Dublin to Belvedere as a 15-year-old. And I always felt by going to everyone, you say, oh, you've great potential as a goalie. And I was thinking, if I cross over the car up here, I'd get a nosebleed. Never mind go to Dublin.
Were you a big size of 14? Were you a big 14?
No, I was at that type of, you have loads of potential, but you're too small.
You sprout, yeah.
Too small. I was always too small. I didn't grow till I was 21.
Shut up.
I was like a man out of the Zoltan. Do you know Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Do you know where he goes out and he gets the thing and he wakes up next morning and I'm like this going, my sleeves are up here and I was like, geez, my hands are massive.
That's all never him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Going in trying my dad's suits on. Yeah. And so that was crazy. And I just said, I'm going to Barrytown, and that was it.
And then to West Ham.
That started it, yeah. Then on to West Ham and how all that started to...
Must be...
So then writing that and
back
through the whole story is a serious...
Do you often just on the story, like... I don't think I'll ever write a book, right? But I often wondered about guys who write books, especially autobiographies.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you have to go back to make it accurate? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and
On
sometimes
the book.
you're one.
Yeah.
Sometimes your memory is like, is that actually real?
Further
Is my
down the line, you
memory?
remember
Yeah.
something, I may
Yeah.
stick that back in there
Yeah.
or whatever.
Like, who
Yeah.
verifies it for
Is
you?
this an illusion?
Yeah.
Did that actually really happen?
But even the moments,
yeah,
David,
you're only working off your
even
own
the
thoughts.
moments where you're looking out the window, looking at your man transmogrified speaking to a donkey,
Yeah.
and you're like, God help me, and your phone rings.
In all fairness, that was probably one of the realest things I've ever seen.
You know, but you know what I mean? Like, even,
Yeah.
like, no one can verify that for me. So you must have to go back and revisit that 3 or 4 times to say, no, it did happen. You get down there. Yeah, it did happen.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, I think that's, like, it's a journey is usually a forward thing, right?
Yeah.
Or to get to a destination.
Yeah.
But if you're going back on your mind, like, you must have to go back 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, you're getting into the, the mind is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
What I started to discover is the dimensions of the mind, the faculties of the mind.
Nuts.
When you look at the biggest faculty is actually the memory. I won't go into the other ones because we'll be here all night, but the biggest faculty is the memory. And a lot of the times we look back at our memory and we actually go, yeah, the good moments. But 9 times out of 10, it's never the good moments we remember. It's always the negative.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always
You
the worst
forget how
things
good
that
you were,
happens.
but you remember the mistake you made.
Exactly.
Do you know that? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. You're always looking at what I did wrong, or something that went wrong, or something that wasn't nice to you, or someone that was mean to you. You're always going back into those spaces.
Yeah.
And I started to realise that all those memories and people that weren't so kind to me, or not even being kind to myself, that actually became my fertiliser. That was the stuff that actually made me grow. It's like no mud, no lotus.
Yeah.
No shite, no roses. That's what I always say. So going back through those memories and chasing through them and actually seeing how they actually were a huge part in what formed me as a man and as a person.
Yeah.
Those experiences were amazing.
But it is also your environment shapes you, right?
Exactly, and that's why I say you're a product of your circumstances, environment, wherever you come
Were you
from.
excited or nervous from Barrytown to West Ham to say, "Jesus, the standard is going to, I may sharp up here"? Do you know, like in the coaching and
I still think I was
as
in
a player.
shock.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
but you don't have time to be in shock. You have to get in straight away. I may act here if I want to get.
But to be honest, I was just thinking, right, I'm going on here for a few days training.
Yeah.
So there was no expectations. So I was just more or less looking forward to it and excited. There was no sense of nerves. There was no nerves because I didn't have any expectations. It's only when we place expectations on us that we can only look into the future and then think, well, straight away disappointment kicks in because you've made an appointment with the future.
Wow.
And if you don't attain it,
That is a tattoo. I've made an appointment with the future.
yeah, that's all disappointment is.
Only judge can God me. Go on then. Isn't it?
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So getting into that, and then like what you said, it probably just allowed me just to be so at ease.
You're going straight in with David James and all that, are you?
Yeah,
Just straight.
Shaka Hislop.
Yeah. Shaka there as well,
Shaka,
yeah.
What a guy.
Just going to say, what's Shaka?
He was
Gentleman.
amazing. Ludo McCloskey was the goalkeeping coach.
Yeah.
Big Ludo.
Wow.
Big absolute.
Shaka Hislop could have been in Cool Runnings, couldn't he?
He could have been.
He could have been. He could have had a part
He could have been.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he could have been. Yeah. There's my lucky egg, man.
Yeah. That's him.
Yeah,
That's
in
him,
his hat
yeah.
and the goal.
I think that's his cousin.
Yeah. He could be, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what a guy. Yeah. Stephen Bywater was there. He was in the England
Bywater,
underage teams. And
Was Dix there at that time? No, Julian Dix. No,
no, he had gone.
He'd gone. Yeah.
Michael Carrick was there.
Carrick, Joe Cole.
Who was the club
Trevor
captain that
Sinclair.
time?
Sinclair was
Who was
there.
amazing. That was an amazing story.
The Canio there then?
The Canio was there.
Yeah.
Actually, when I
Must have a Tacanio story.
Were you
I
involved
sang-
in that game? He did the scissors kick.
No, I'd come just after that.
Just after that.
I had
Against
come
Charlton, was it?
down. We'd gone into the canteen, and Glenn Roeder was talking to Kenny Brown. They were reminiscing back in the day and stuff. And he said, "Go and have a look." And I think one of the first place I went into was the boot room. You know, you'd always hear about the boot room.
Yeah.
And you walk. It was about this size. It
Yeah.
was the same size as this room. And nails and the numbers up, and everyone had all the different boots. And I was looking at the Canio's boots, and everyone. It was the smell of polish, and
I remember
was
the
just
jersey,
thinking, this is
Pony. They were
amazing.
sponsored by, made by Pony.
That's it. Yeah.
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 That was the name of the make of the jersey, yeah.
You go out in you come out there, the canteen was here, you come out of the boot room, you go down a little hallway, the academy at the time, or the youth players were all in that changing room, and then it opened up into a bit of a gym and it was like a community centre, but it had carpet back then. There was no 3G or AstroTurf.
Go away.
It was like a carpet, you know, those grass burns where you
Like
get
Mosney.
proper. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And just this big barn. And there was a big net kind of dividing 3/4 of it, and had the gym on one side, and the big side was like a 7-a-side.
Yeah.
6-a-side, you would have been unbelievable.
Yeah, it would have been unbelievable.
Yeah. Exactly. So I walk in, and next thing I see a guy doing weights. He's on the bench press, and he's smashing weights, and he's going for it. He pops up his head. It's Trevor Sinclair. And he just, I think a few weeks before that, he did that.
The bicycle.
Yeah. Ridiculous. And
he had a few of them in his locker, didn't he?
Yeah, he was. It was coming up to the World Cup in 2002, and it was questions of will Trevor get in?
He was always on the edge, wasn't he? He was never a cert, but he was like,
but he got the best player in that tournament in 2002. And the funny thing was, he was like, "You're from Ireland," and I said, "Yeah." He goes, "My mother's from Sligo." I said, "You're joking." He goes, "Yeah, I'm giving everything to get into this World Cup. I'm in the gym," and you could see the determination.
Ultra determined, yeah.
Yeah, and he was fit as a fiddle. He was as fit as a butcher's puppy.
He had a good few caps behind him, though, even at that stage, right?
Yeah, but he started talking to me about Luke Kelly.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Dublin or Luke Kelly?
Yeah, he listens. That's what he listens at. Dublin, and we just started having this connection.
Brilliant.
And sure, then we had Paddy's Days out and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him dancing with my mother one Paddy's Day.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's a
yeah.
different story, you know. But Trevor was like, obviously his mother's kind of his Irish roots, and he could have played for Ireland, but chose England, and he had a great career. Next thing I hear this, boom, 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 go over to the curtain. I pull the curtain back, and it's the Canio.
Wow.
And he's doing like keepy uppies, and he's bouncing on the shoulder, that shoulder. Ball didn't touch the ground. I'm just there like this, watching this ball.
Yeah.
Bouncing around him, going, "It's Paolo Di Canio." And he was so
gifted, wasn't he?
eccentric. Oh, he was genius. Absolute genius. Next thing he gets the ball, right foot volley off the far wall, which is about maybe 15, 20 feet away, if not more. Comes back onto his chest, first time. Left foot off the other wall. He was doing this for about 10 minutes. Ball didn't drop one. It's probably the best thing I've ever seen anyone doing with a football. I was just watching this. And in the end, I just started clapping, and he dropped it. He was raging.
Was Bullard a YTS then at Jimmy
No,
Bullard?
Jimmy was gone.
He just gone.
Yeah, Jimmy was gone. Yeah,
Because he tells a great one about the Canio, where the Canio had his own coach.
Personal coach?
When he was signed to West Ham, Harry Redknapp was the manager.
Yeah,
the Canio had his own coach.
Yeah.
And he used to do the warm-ups, and then Harry Redknapp said, "Do you know what, join in with Paolo, lads? It looks like he's doing something right."
He's doing right,
like, because he's that eccentric that he'd have like his own kind of entourage of people.
Yeah, but the Italians were way ahead at the time in terms of diet and food and alcohol.
Little glass of red wine with their...
He didn't get many international caps, did he?
No, he didn't.
Didn't he? No,
he wasn't really.
Because he did the thing at Celtic, didn't he? Remember, he pushed the referee, and then he went to
Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday, and then Celtic. So he was always seen.
But he was a raise of controversy, right?
That's it.
And I even think in Italy, I don't think the Italians were actually very fond of him.
Yeah,
despite his absolute unbelievable talent.
Exactly.
I don't think they were.
And he was unreliable. But the only one that probably could get Anton out of him was probably Harry.
Yeah.
You know, and Harry did an amazing job on him. But he, he was.
I remember in Everton, there was someone going on the sideline, and
Gerard, that was out.
The
Upton
goalkeeper,
Park.
was it?
Yeah,
was it Upton Park?
Gerard.
Yeah,
bust his knee. His knee
caught the ball.
Yeah,
picked it up,
and then he got a standing ovation for everybody.
He won the FIFA Fair Play Award that year.
Yeah,
for that.
Yeah, he was unbelible. Like he
But you don't know what he's going to do next.
The chef, Tim, who is now he looks after the he's kind of the liaison player, the liaison officer for the English national team now.
Right.
He was their chef, but now he's a liaison. But he was Liam Neeson's personal chef.
That's enough.
On Star Wars. And when I signed, he kind of came in at the same time. And the two of us were kind of in the kitchen talking one day, and he says, "I'm new, you're new." And which guy said, "What did you do?" He was telling me about Hollywood and telling me the whole story.
Telling about Terryland.
Yeah. That's what I should have called the book, from Hollywood to Terryland.
About the horse in the satellite dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What
tell you about Vinny
do
talking to the horse, like. Yeah. And just got chatting, and he just started telling me his story of being in Hollywood and doing all that. And he was an amazing chef. Like I used to eat dinner there, and he'd give me food in the evening to just heat up at home.
Ideal.
So I put on about 4 stone. It was ideal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyhow, where was I going with that? He cooked amazing food, and the Canio wouldn't eat his food. He was like, "My mum has pasta. on Mama's food.
Yeah.
And he'd come in every Friday with his Mama's recipe of
Italians are like that though, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was the best of food, but he was so eccentric.
Yeah,
it was amazing. Yeah,
so talented though, wasn't he?
Yeah, so
My
talented.
God.
Yeah.
Are you now, if to go back to that time at West Ham, you've signed a contract, it's been negotiated, you're in. Are you comfortable with your standing at the club, or are you saying this is a platform to me to be a number one somewhere?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Ludo was amazing, lovely man. JMO at the time was actually my hero. He was the goalie I actually looked
David
up to.
James.
Yeah, so next thing all of a sudden I'm working with.
That's because you're a
hero.
Liverpool fan though.
Exactly.
Schmeichel's 10 times better than James.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But he was
Move on, Posh.
honest to God, he was some goalkeeper. He got some stick that was
For nothing really.
for nothing. And you know what the funny thing is, you Saul Campbell and other players that played with him absolutely adored him because he'd come for things.
Brave.
And they were like, right, you'll catch 9 of them. We'd take that all day long rather than come for none.
Yeah.
We know you're going to drop one. That's okay. We all make
But
mistakes.
did you ever notice, did you ever notice when he was playing for England that the centre halves used to nearly make the avenue for him?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, do you know that he'd come out and get
Yeah.
it? Like, I used to always notice that when David James played international football.
Yeah.
That the top defenders, like, if they knew someone he was coming, they'd be like, right, he's coming here, so I'm going to.
We're going to create the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. And he, so he was some of the stuff you used to see him doing in training, and plus he was a physical specimen.
Huge, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's massive. And I'm a big man, and I was even looking up to him at the time. And plus, he had an afro as well at the time.
Yeah.
Everything. You made him
Like
even
Peter
look bigger.
Jackson in the goal.
Yeah. Never mind blocking out the goal, he'd block out the sun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
But the biggest villain in English football is the English media. Like, if he makes a mistake that, say, a League 2 goalkeeper would make, it's just a mistake by the goalkeeper. But because he's England's number one,
yeah,
it's multiplied tenfold.
yeah, but
How can we win a tournament with this lad in the goal?
you used to call him Calamity James.
Calamity James,
Remember that?
and he got that stuck to him.
Yeah, that stuck to him. Yeah, and I think, do you know what? It started to leave him later in his career. He started to mature when he was at Villa and Man City, and Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Then he
Never Cup of
started
Portsmouth,
to,
right?
yeah, he started to mature in himself as well, like, you know. But his handling was never supreme. You know, that's the one area
That was his weak point, was it,
right?
right?
Was his handling. So yeah, that used to make for interesting. And then we'd be doing corners, or we'd be out wide as the other young keepers whipping in free kicks and stuff. And he used to go absolutely mental, volleying balls over the train tracks, like, and he'd be like, match pace. And even just to like put something on match pace that you had to whip it, height, pace, speed, all that. And if you just floated one in there, he'd go mental. So you were shaking in your boots, and you're still in the training ground. So then getting into squads, then I was like third choice, and as a third choice to gain experience, I'd have to warm up at Upton Park. And I remember going out to Upton Park, and it was 44,042. Upton Park was serious when they started singing "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles," and the atmosphere in there, the chicken run, and it was a great stadium. And I remember walking out there, and I remember just doing the warm up, thinking, geez, if I have to come on here, no chance. Nowhere near it. So there was a comfort nearly in actually being, you know, I'm actually okay being third or fourth choice.
Let me observe.
Exactly, but there was no one there to actually say, this is actually part of the process.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel that way. It's okay, this is part of your learning, this is part of your maturing, you're still only a young man. You know, there was none of that. I had to figure it all out myself. And then the ultimate conclusion I came to was, I'm not good enough. I just fed into the doubt of it all. So I always felt, right, I'm
sort of here to warm up the goalkeepers.
Exactly, yeah. Let's just collect me money, have the crack for a few years, and play the reserve games, and everything's fine.
Where did it change then? What's the change?
What was the change?
Yeah, like Millwall, is that the next one?
No, after that was, I ended up leaving.
Bournemouth, was it?
No, I went back to Ireland.
Back to Derry, right?
Yeah, I packed in football. I got Alan Pardew come in, and did you know the game where Shipperley tapped it in for Palace to make it 1-0? Bywater made the save, popped it back out, and Shipperley tapped it in.
Yeah.
That's the one where Dowie came in and they were bottom of the league, and they ended up getting promoted. So Ian Pardew kind of gave me a bit of an ultimatum. He said, look, if we go back to the Premier League, we'll want another keeper. If we stay in the Championship, you're gone. And I'll never forget the day he turned around and I said, look, everybody got fitted for suits, bar 2 people, myself and Elliot Ward. Elliot Ward went on to play for Norwich, and his brother Darren I played with at he played in the Premier League with Wolves, and he went to Millwall with us. Great guy, and he brought everybody else bar us too. Everyone else got fitted for suits, and that was
That's demoralising, I'd say, isn't it?
very demoralising. Yeah,
It's bigger than being demoralised.
yeah.
It's actually
That is the ultimate left out.
It's the great word for it. It's the right word for it.
It's heartbreak.
Yeah, heartbreak. Yeah, pure disillusioned. So I go and grab me bag, and Alan Pardew walks out through the car park, and you know, it's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. At the time, I used to think it was him being arrogant, and now you look back and you think, well, is that just a man being confident? Is that just how small I was? So looking at those different areas and those different lining those different parts up in myself, he turned around and he said one thing to me. I said, I'm going home back to Ireland for the weekend. And he turned around and he went, I want you back here on Monday or Tuesday for the parade. And I just thought, wow, you've just shot yourself in the foot.
on, so is it?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
go to M&S and get me home on.
And I knew when he just said it, you know, and you just get that feeling. I was like, you've overshot the runway here.
Yeah.
And tempted fate.
Yeah.
So they got beat in the final. Packed me bags, left the training ground, drove straight home. Leroy Rossignol was the manager at Torquay. There was who else rang me? Oldham and a couple of other clubs. And straight up, they were like, want to sign you? And I was like, nah, I'm done. Done with football.
At 24?
24, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Got in my car, drove up to Holyhead, crossed the ferry, down to Galway, and I was done with football. That's it. Not playing football anymore.
Content to be done?
Well, not really. I was still hurting, like, you know. I was still in a lot of shock. I was still in a lot of hurt and depressed and all that kind of
grief,
thing.
right?
You know?
You're obviously feeling grief.
That's the word.
It's a different kind of grief, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, grief is grief.
Grief is
Yeah,
grief.
but that's
exactly.
fucking...
Yeah.
So if you lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But
Well, you're losing your whole sense of your identity. Yeah.
Talk to me about that recovery period.
Well, it was funny because...
Don't think so, David. Grief isn't that funny.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I remember coming home and Ali was working in, was she in Sasha or she was in Morgan de Troyes, she was a manager in the clothes industry, the retail industry, should I say. She was working away and I was kind of licking my wounds. I was trying to figure out who I was, what do I do now? I have no career, I have no education behind me. I did my leaving cert. And I tell people I got 540 points, and everyone goes, "You got 540 points? That's amazing." I said, "Yeah, the first year I got 275."
Yeah.
Do the maths for the second year. So
I got 570 over 4.5 years.
Yeah. 15 years
brilliant.
later, and so I was kind of like that, drinking and going out and trying to figure out, right, what do I do next? And she came home then after a few weeks and she absolutely tore me asunder one morning. She says, "I'm going out here to work every day." It was like you think about it and it sounds very harsh, but you know, sometimes you just need it between, you need a reality between the eyes.
Yeah, man.
And it was actually what I exactly needed, someone to just give it to me straight.
Yeah, I hear it.
And, you know, oftentimes we think that, you know, people that want to see the best in us, we see it as an attack, but it's actually an act of love. And that's exactly what it was, you know. That she came in and tore me a new one and said, "Right, I'm off out working here. You need to get your shit together, basically. Sort your life out, blah, 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 blah." And I thought, right. And I remember it just clicking. I said, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump in my car. I'm going to drive into Galway. I was living in Athenry at the time. We were living in a rented house. Drove into the St. Joseph's College, the Bish, where I went to secondary school. Jimmy Brennan, who was the head of Irish soccer schools, went in to see him. Jimmy was delighted to see me, and I said, "Look, Jimmy," I said, "I want to go back to NUIG as a mature student. I want to become a teacher. I want to go play for Galway, centre midfield, win an All-Ireland and live my best life."
Yeah.
That was my plan. And, you know, there's a great saying, tell God your plans and listen to him laugh.
Yeah.
So,
You're going to have a few tattoos tonight.
I'd be like an Easel, so I will even finish there.
I'm going to look at you, read you.
yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
So we went in anyhow, and Jimmy goes, you always got a place here as a teacher and stuff. So I applied for a mature student, got into NUIG as a mature student, studying geography, history, sociology and politics and philosophy.
Wow.
At the time, I didn't have a clue what philosophy was, deities and everything else. And here
What was the course called? Deep.
It was arts.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, arts.
Yeah, it's arts.
And I was like thinking arts is arts, but it's you do 4 in the first year and you drop. So I thought I'll do these 4 and I'll do geography and history. Go back as a geography teacher or a history teacher. I was quite good. The only two things I was good at school.
Yeah.
So I'm in there and I'm in the last assignment I remember doing was actually on St. Patrick. Doing a full-blown assignment on St. Patrick, a whole 9 yards, the whole history that the Romans, Pliny had of him, and his whole heritage, and coming over to Ireland and trying to figure it out. And I was doing this whole assignment. And next thing I get a phone call from Stephen Kenny.
Who's up at Derry?
He's up at Derry, and he says, "Look, I'm looking for a goalie. There's 10 or 12 games left. Just go." And I was like, "Nah, I'm done with football." And he was like, "Look, I know you've met Alison. You're settled down back home. You can train back in Galway with Joe Riley and Tommy Lally. But just come up here on a Thursday. You can play on a Friday and go home." I thought, all right, I'm skint. I get a few bob for it.
Yeah.
And that's what I started to play those last few games, and I started to get the love back for the game.
Straight away?
Straight away,
Wow.
yeah. And then Stephen just started to realise that obviously I was hurt and disillusioned and disorientated.
It's good management though, isn't it?
Amazing, yeah. He started to see that part of me. So then I got back in with Derry, and St. Patrick for me is always about unfinished business. So I always felt I'd unfinished business with England and the English game and my career, and going back to the, as you said, the roots and the soil was all I wanted to do was play for Ireland.
Yeah.
I just wanted one cap for Ireland, and now I sit here today, saying I've lived my dream 24 times.
It's crazy.
Which is mental. And
where are we going after Derry?
Where do you want to go?
No, where as club boys.
All right, yeah.
Pub? Pints? Lads?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Big thumbs up there from Paddy Carl behind.
Yeah, we're going for jars.
Yeah.
We're going for pints of porter. Lovely.
Club. Back to England then, right?
No, I spent 2 years at Derry then.
Yeah, 2 years at Derry.
So the first year we got
Successful, yeah.
Yes, yeah. We won the League Cup. Mm-hmm. We got beat by Cork on the last day of the season down in Cork. All we needed was a draw. They beat us 2-1, so we lost the league on goal difference. Second year, same thing. Shelburne beat us on goal difference. So I lost the league.
Cork won
twice.
it the first year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah. So the 2 times got beat on goal difference, which was absolutely insane. And then we won the FAI Cup and the League Cup that year. We had an amazing run in Europe. We should have won the treble. However, that's history now. But yeah, it was an amazing time, amazing years. And my last game for Derry was Lansdowne Road, 2006, last game ever in Lansdowne. Yeah. That infamous 4-3 game with Pats.
FA Cup final.
And it was blown a gale. The game should have been called off.
Yeah.
God bless Mark Farron. Mark scored that night. What a player, what a guy. Paddy McCourt played. Paddy was phenomenal.
What did they call him? The Derry Pele?
The Derry Pele, yeah.
Some player, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we're coming up in the car and James Hurley's getting on to me. And he always asked, I knew he was going to ask me that question. He said, I'm going to ask you some of the questions I think the boys are going to ask you. Yeah. And I says, go on. And he says to me, he goes, who's the best player you ever played with? And I was like, Jesus, I hate that question.
Yeah.
You can ask me any other question, bar that.
Would you have a pen there, Pablo?
Yeah.
You were like, shite, I better go on to the next question.
No, I don't like that question.
So he turned around and I had to sit with it and I was thinking, Jesus, I've seen and played with so many. But Paddy McCourt.
Did you ever see his reel, highlight reel at Celtic?
Some player.
He was so underrated.
Go watch it. If you haven't seen it, go watch
Paddy McCourt's YouTube highlight reel.
Yeah.
Different level.
Yeah. Ardla Vale. Yeah. He's
That's
serious.
And Gwelgor.
Cúpla focal, but nothing much.
Don't not swear in front of me again, please.
yeah.
I'm
That's a great criminal. I think it's one of my greatest regrets.
My wife is a Gwelgor.
I'm going to get Irish one day. I'm definitely going to do that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to be.
Hey, listen,
I think it's criminal as Irish people.
We go abroad, right? My wife's Irish speaker.
Yeah.
She speaks 6 languages.
Does she? Just six, like
bag.
Mandarin, Russian.
And currently she's DJing.
Russian is
but
one,
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
She speaks Russian.
A small bit, yeah. Da. Yeah. But
Was she KGB?
Yeah. KGB, yeah. Her surname's Putin. What are you laughing at? Putting in some effort to me, tell you that.
Yeah.
But when we go away, just to digress, when we go away, she only speaks Irish to me in the foreign countries.
That's amazing.
And she'd be like, cut on scale with Deanie Dove. I'm like that. Sorry? What's that? What's that?
I didn't know you were from here.
What are you talking about?
He's in the corner with Cadam, Golgogi and Leris.
Yeah. Do you know what's worse? She doesn't diverse. She's like,
Yeah.
the cut on scale. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know what you're talking
But
about.
Jolly, it's crazy.
Speak Russian. I'll
Yeah.
understand.
No, but then what happens over time then is you actually get them.
Yeah.
You actually get the words.
Yeah.
And then you realise that it's actually not a really difficult language
But
to speak.
I can comprehend it. If someone talks it, I have a fair idea what they're talking about. But for me to talk it, I can't.
I'll never be fluent in it, but I am getting a
It's a
bit
shame,
better at it.
we
Right?
don't know enough of it.
Yeah.
In the book, right, you draw a powerful comparison, right, to football stadiums and ancient Roman Colosseums. Now, you kind of mentioned it with Wembley. Is that comparable to the Den? Like, you eventually get to Millwall, which is obviously your anchor club.
Yeah. Me home.
300 something appearances?
342. Yeah.
342. Like, are you comparing that Roman thing to the Den? Like, is that the level that place was?
Yeah, it's linked to the Den, obviously the Lions Den and the Lions in Coliseum, and it's linked to every stadium. You know,
That's an intense place to go, I'd say, is it?
Yeah, it's amazing actually. When that place is full with 22,000 people or 23, whatever they can get in there with police and everything else, it is absolutely. It's like having 60 or 80,000 fans in there, and I'll never forget the first time I heard the monks chant. And they just turn around and they go, Meh! And it just goes round and round the whole stadium. And you can see the opposition just actually. And I've often played against players and they're like, what is that chant when it's made? They just all start thinking, it's amazing. It's such, and it just reverberates absolutely through you. And it's true, it's a monk's.
Does it grow you?
It's a monk's chant.
Does it grow you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. You know, they're literally, when that stadium was full, I never felt like I was going to get beat. Yeah. The only time I felt I was going to get beat was when there was 3 men and a dog, because you could hear every shout.
Yeah.
You see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and there were, that was their term of endearment. And someone said it to me, they call you that, you're basically in, like, you know.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy the way I see you next Tuesday as a term of endearment, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you don't see you next Tuesday.
Exactly.
Bob?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a clue there. We're not. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to spell it out for him.
Yeah.
You might have to do it in Braille.
He's down in the ATM later on.
Yeah, brilliant.
The great Charles there, sorry.
100.
Oh man, this is brilliant. It's like a roller coaster. I find Millwall a fascinating club because in London, like, they're a giant.
Mm-hmm. Massive club.
Like, in football terms, they are an absolute giant. Like,
Massive.
why are they lingering? Like, are they ever going to get there?
They're the closest club to the city of London.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
Massive fan base.
I think on their social media they've like 120,000 or 100,000 followers on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, I've gone all over the world doing my trips with work and the work I do now. And even years ago, travelling as games, or we go on holidays. And like, me and Ali and the kids, and Ali just laugh about this, like, you know. There was one time, where were we? Anyhow, we're coming up off the beach, you know, in the evening, just in your shorts and an old t-shirt, and you're wrecked. And you're just like, get me in the shower, I want to go down for my dinner, and the kids are crying, and you're trying to launch them into the pram, and you're home 20 floors up. Going up in the lift, the next thing, this bald guy comes in, skinhead, didn't say a word. Next thing, ding, lift goes out, Ali walks out, and he just went like this, gave me a nod, and he pointed down to his calf. Big line. didn't invade privacy, nothing, so respected the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the amount of times people have just been, I've been in America, South America, Asia, wherever, and they've just been like, Millwall, and you're just going, how is this club? It's a sleeping giant, honest to God.
Isn't it?
If that line awakens, God bless the Premier League.
How long are they off over the top flight though? It must be 30 odd years, is it?
Well, they were in the first division. They were in the old first division.
Yeah, before Premier League.
Dennis Wise with them, wasn't he?
No,
see with them, no.
That was
he was
the
player
championship.
manager. Yeah, championship.
That was when they got to the FA Cup against Man.
United.
Just before that, this was Cascarino.
This
was 80. When was it? 92.
92, 93 was the first year of the Premier League.
So 91, 92, they were in the first division, which was the Premier League.
They were relegated out of the first division.
They just missed it.
What?
Terry Hurlock. Absolutely.
Never met the Premier League. No.
Never met the Premier
That's
League.
That's nuts because you know what could have been, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but if that club gets there, and hopefully one day they will. Like, you know,
they're very much along the same lines as Leeds in that regard, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
They're too big to be in the Championship.
Yeah.
And the Premier League is a better place for them if they're in it.
Yeah,
just for match.
Well, we don't know.
Well, you don't know. But you know about Leeds. Leeds are the same.
Yeah,
but Leeds go.
But Papa, Leeds are a one-club city.
Yeah, I know. Yes,
yeah.
There's a lot of teams
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a very good point. It has, the thing about Millwall was like League One, League Two. Now they're established in the Championship as a Championship club for the last 8-9 years, which is great to see. But in terms of finances and everything else, they're nowhere near the other clubs.
Yeah,
they've probably got one of the lowest budgets in the Championship. But in terms of where we're going back to the original thing of what it actually could be, fan base.
Yeah, it's massive.
I think the biggest problem was when they left the old den to the new den and it became all-seating. That was the first all-seater stadium since the Hillborough disaster. Yeah. And then because of all the banning orders of the hooligans. So the club got
is it as bad as what the...
Back in the day, it was hardcore. But do you know what? I've played in games and there might be one arrest at Millwall on a weekend, but yet there's 99 arrests up at Man United and there's not a word said.
Yeah.
There is that element
reputation.
That it still reputation. But I'm not joking you, salt of the earth people, they're amazing. It's an amazing club.
It's a pure passion for them though.
Yeah. They love their club.
I think the grassroots of a club like Millwall is the purest form of the game.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, it is, yeah. They adore that club, they love that club. And like that, it's got a good Irish connection to it as well. You know,
what's the most intense game from Millwall you played?
Oh, geez, that's a great question. That's in the book as well. Upton Riot was 2008 Carling Cup final. It was probably the last major kind of riot in English football. I don't know if you remember it, where there was 3 or 4 pitch invasions. There was a lad stabbed outside. We were locked in the stadium till 5 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
And it was absolute bedlam. Yeah, it was like a war zone.
Was it, yeah?
Oh, yeah, it was bricks flying everywhere, broken windows, glass bottles.
Get out of Dodge here
They
quick.
got onto the pitch 3 or 4 times, and it was
frightening.
That was edgy. Yeah, you get it on YouTube as well. It'd be worth watching it. Yeah, it's hardcore
Christ.
stuff.
Yeah. Frightening, right? Scary.
Yeah.
Let's jump to your international call-up.
Yes.
You have a record for the oldest debutant in a competitive game?
Yes.
In Sweden?
Oldest World Cup debutant since World War II.
Brilliant.
Which is...
That's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mental, yeah.
Is that's not just an Irish record, that's a record.
I don't actually know. That's a good question,
Let's just fucking say it is.
Yeah.
It's a proper
It's a worldwide record.
It's exclusive.
It's a universal record.
Ampifi Studio. How is he podcast?
Yeah.
That was against Sweden. Talk me. Well, I'm actually interested to know about the, I won't say emotion, but the reaction to actually getting the call. Is it preempted? Do you know it's coming? Are you kind of given here, you might get a call off such and such, or like, is it out of the blue?
Well, we played at Turfmoor, and before the game, I've gone out to do my warm up, and Tony Burns, my goalkeeping coach, said to me, "Oh, that's Alan Kelly over there," and Alan loves his shooting and hunting. He had like a wax jacket on and a proper paddy cap, flat cap.
Deadly, yeah.
Prince Charles in the corner
exactly,
over.
And what a beautiful man, and a great goalkeeping coach, an amazing keeper as well. I loved Alan. He was a great keeper for Ireland, and he was standing there watching, and I didn't want to let my mind wander because I was in good form at the time. That year I'd kept 21 clean sheets in the championship.
Outstanding.
Oh yeah, it was next level. And I didn't
In the
realise
Championship?
that at the time.
Outstanding.
Like, that should have even just got me a move into the Premier League. I should have got a Premier League move off the back of that.
Absolutely.
But because of my
21 clean
age,
sheets is- Jesus Christ.
Just throw a bit of scope on the Championship,
Yeah.
lads. You don't understand it's the second most watched league in world football
Is it
behind the
second
Premier
now?
League.
Is it?
the Championship.
you joking me?
Sorry, attendance.
Attendance.
Second most attended league outside the Premiership
Yeah.
is Championship.
That's phenomenal. Yeah,
Outrageous.
yeah. I didn't know that. And so I'm there keeping 21 clean sheets. Bear in mind, there's only 46 games in a season, so I'm up at nearly
Halfway.
1 and 2. My form was ridiculous. Didn't get the move to the Premier League because clubs used to come and watch me and think, geez, he's a good keeper, but he's an absolute psychopath, so we leave him there. Do you know what I mean?
Remember how you punched your man in Barry?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, this guy's an absolute lunatic. Like, we can't have him coming into his change room.
Keepers are hard,
Keeper, man.
David, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it got me in the Irish team.
Yeah.
That was like my move, and that was all I was at. That was my dream. You know, I loved playing football. You know, I loved playing in goals, and then getting to play for Ireland was pinnacle. It was never about money for me, and you know, my career came late to me. And the beauty is, I still have to get up every morning and work. I still have a mortgage, still have to pay things. Everybody thinks that, geez, I'll be worth an absolute small fortune. That never happened.
Yeah.
But there's a beauty in that also.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it keeps you getting up every morning to put a roof over your head, bread on the table, and to fight for your family. So
Warriors,
I'm
grounded,
there.
isn't it?
Warriors mindset.
Yeah.
That's a grounded statement. That is.
Yeah.
Like you would get the image of Millwall and so many caps, and he's done. He never has to work again.
But
in his life.
it's a natural mindset.
not like that.
If you go back 5,000 years ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a guy wakes up in a cave. What's his
Yeah.
first thing? Feed me family.
Feed me
keep
family.
me safe.
And that's all every man does.
Yeah, honestly.
That's all every man does.
Like it's the
Let's go
natural.
and-
It's a natural
exactly.
mindset, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not what's in my bank account. It's not what I'm going to
Exactly.
get today. It's not.
And
you
that
know.
goes back to your question earlier around the warrior.
Yeah.
You know, we're the modern day warriors in the Colosseum. We have to step out onto that pitch where there were so many times it wasn't me against you or me against Sweden or me against anybody else. I only realised this after I finished, that it was just David versus David.
Yeah.
Nobody else. And when I started to realise that the amount of times I used to battle with myself, self-doubt, nervous, am I good enough, all those different elements, and then the high of overcoming your doubts and your fears, that when you win a game, it was like it was like a drug. It was like an addiction. It is a drug.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, every neurochemical, every hormone in your body floods the system, and you're absolutely high as a kite.
It's a buzz.
And to get that feeling, and then all of a sudden your whole identity and who you are, you lose a game, you're lower than the stakes belly. So, like what you said, you're on that roller coaster. You're up and down.
But you don't need to be professional to get them feelings.
No, you don't.
No,
You just need to be of that mindset.
Absolutely.
Of the
But
sport,
every man and woman that walks out the front door goes through that every day and every morning.
Yeah.
It's just heightened because you're on TV or you're in a privileged
Successful
position to be under that
podcast.
stress and pressure. Like successful podcast from Carl.
Yeah.
Be successful after this, tell you that.
Yeah.
So you're in with Ireland. Are you saying one will do, or are you thinking, I'm here now, give me the #1 jersey?
Well, it's funny you say that. There was Martin Byrne, who was one of the Martin Byrne and Bobby Ward. They were the security guards for the Irish team, and Eddie Hickey, or what's his name, Tony Hickey, was the head guy. But the two guys were the fulcrum of the security on the floor. But they were not only just about security, as I said, they're actually very funny. But they said, "Oh, you're security with the Irish team. You must have a lot of problem keeping people out." He says, "No, we're here to keep the lads in."
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's because of the rep door, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Charlton area probably kind of linked on a little
exactly,
bit.
Exactly. So the boys' job was to keep us in, and I remember coming onto the floor and I met Martin, and he's an absolute hero, and he was a king of taking the players in and making you feel welcome. He'd such an uncanny such a natural knack of just making you feel part of it, because you don't know any of the rest of the lads. There's kind of, obviously you're fighting for competition in places and you don't know who's who and stuff, but he just made you feel so at home straight away.
Brilliant.
And he goes, come here and I tell you, he goes, how many caps do you want? I was like, just one cap. I'll be happy with one cap. And he goes, you'll get between 20 and 30 caps. And I was
He said it to you?
He did, yeah. He did, yeah. And I was like, will you go away, Martin? I said, if I get 20 to 30 caps, I'll lose my mind. I said, all I want is one cap. Just give me one cap. And it came around fairly quickly as well. I think it was my second camp in the summer. The Carling Nations Cup, Northern Ireland, and they were going through a tough time.
Yeah.
We battered them 5-0.
Yeah.
5-0, yeah.
They were going through serious transition, weren't
Shea
they?
comes off in the 69th, 70th minute. Next thing, you're coming on. I'm like, I'm coming on for Shea Given, arguably Ireland's greatest keeper.
He is.
He is Ireland's. Yeah.
No disrespect.
Yeah, I'm second. But anyway.
Well, Packy wasn't too bad, I know.
No, we've been blessed with the keepers we've had. Honest to God, we've been blessed.
But to be,
and
Kelly
actually,
was
there's
good,
actually
wasn't he?
not that many. That's another thing where it's like I'm in that privileged group of. There's actually not
to
many
be mentioned in
Irishmen
conversation with lads of that level, it must be like,
it's
wow,
mind blowing. Yeah, sometimes you have to still pinch yourself. But coming on for Shea, and you know the funny thing was the colour of the jersey was maroon and white. It was Galway colours.
Galway colours, yeah.
The only time ever they had a Galway shirt.
Yeah.
And even think that's how
I could see
you
that
said
jersey
about
in
being
my mind.
curiosity and deep.
Yeah,
I'd be like, Jesus, that's where my mind went to.
Well, do you know, it's funny, when I see you as a goalkeeper, that's the jersey that comes to my head.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Galway thing for me because I'm not from Galway. But
Yeah.
I just think because I remember you making your debut.
Yeah.
And do you know? Say for instance,
You were like, who's this old bastard?
yeah. St. Feek's house sport. No, because you know, say if you mentioned Ryan Giggs to me, I think of the United jersey that had the laces going through it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just how my mind works.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, the journey you had in with Ireland, like 24 camps is nothing to be sniffed at, right?
Yeah.
And you got to go to a Euros as well.
Yeah.
Did you feel you missed out on the next? Was this 2016 or
2016, yeah.
you feel?
The funny thing is, you know what the irony is? I shouldn't have went to 2012 and I should have went to 2016.
Yeah, that's what I would have kind of said. You were
the wrong way
a
around,
better
yeah.
keeper like at that time, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it was, the funny thing was I got into the Irish squad and a load of other things happened in it. And at the time I'd lost my position at Millwall and I actually didn't think Trapp would have brought me. And I was over on holidays with Ali and I get a phone call from Alan Kelly and she still has a photo taking a picture of me and I'm like shocked that I'm in. I'd written myself off. I was like, well, I'm not playing for Millwall. I've just missed out on, I got injured and form lost and everything else. I thought, right, that's the Euros gone. Trapp brought me, obviously seen something and trusted me. Then roll on 2016 and I play 5 or 6 of the games, man the match in a couple of the games. And then I lose my position and lose my place, lose my form at Millwall. I'm out with the team at Millwall. And I didn't go. Yeah, so that was a tough pill to swallow at that time.
Jesus.
Is that an understatement? Tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, that was sickening. That was, yeah.
Tough.
Yeah, still, yeah.
It still hurts. You
It
can
was
see
a
in your
really,
face,
really,
right?
really hard time, yeah.
You know straight away, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, it was...
You know where you don't even, like, you don't know, but
Because you know,
your expression is like,
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's like
Should have been there.
that's like said, that's hard for us to decipher, David. I'll tell you why, right? Because you've reached it, right? I think it's a mark of you as a man, first of all, that well, I've reached it now, but no, hold on. You haven't seen the best of me yet, lads. I can still provide, okay? Don't be, you know. I think you kind of undersell what you've achieved.
Yeah.
Up onto that point, right?
Yeah. No, a lot of people, even my friends say that to me. You know,
Yeah.
to be honest, you'd walk into my house, you wouldn't even know if a footballer, I think I've won the caps just up on one of the shelves.
Yeah.
None of my shirts, I've no such
I
memorabilia,
think that's the
medals
mark
or
of a
anything
winner,
like
though.
that.
yeah, you don't have to
I really
flaunt
do.
it to know
Yeah.
what you've done.
Yeah.
If you know about me, you know about me. If you don't, what about it's your loss?
Yeah, okay. That was just what I did. It doesn't actually make me who I am as a person. Or what I'm really about. You know, that's just a part of me.
Yeah,
There's
see,
a million and one other parts of me that people don't understand or get. Like,
that's why I'll
that's
never
what-
play for Ireland, because I celebrate emptying a dishwasher. I'm taking a selfie behind an empty dishwasher, sending to my wife. But you know what I'm saying to you?
well, to be honest,
Apologise.
I do the same thing. I do the ironing and I leave it hanging up on the door, so when she walks past it, she
You
can see
iron,
that I
yeah.
did it. Like,
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
I actually find it very grounding lately.
I can't do it.
The last few months, I found myself getting into ironing which I couldn't iron a thing. Now all of a sudden I'm like this, getting the creases out.
The longer you're in this room, the more I think you're the one talking to that horse.
Oh, brilliant.
Here, I tell you a great one, won't I?
Yeah, go on, go for it.
There was a lad driving down Ballinasloe one day, and you know the mental asylum in Ballinasloe?
No, go ahead, yeah. Right.
Driving down Ballinasloe, right wheel comes off, flat in through the gate. There was a lad coming out with his apron, right? Sees this wheel flying by, he starts rubbing his eyes, thinking, geez, what tablets am I on today?
Yeah,
what's going on? Like, nothing new.
Yeah.
So he picks up the wheel, he walks out to your man and he says, here's your wheel. Put it on the car and drive home. The man's going, geez, now I know why you're in there. So he says, put on the wheel, drive home. He goes, the bolts and everything's gone. How am I going to drive home?
Wheel, yeah.
He goes, put the wheel on the car, take a bolt off each of the wheels, that'll get you home and drive home. Your man goes, that's genius. He says, what are you doing in there? He said, I'm mad, not fucking thick.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So that sums me up.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'm mad, but I'm not thick.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Talk to me about, lastly, talk to me about your retirement and Pat, your business you co-founded. I'm super interested in that.
Yes. Like what I said, I started to look at, right, what does life after football, because obviously I hadn't earned the ability or the earning capacity to actually sail off into the sunset. And as I said, there was something beautiful in that. And I started to realise back in those years that through the work I was doing on myself, personal and professional development and understanding the power of the mind, studying the mind in depthly and the Vedic and yogic sciences, meditation, pranayama, all those different elements. And I thought, right, there's definitely something in this in terms of, right, how can I get my concentration and focus levels to the right place? I started to see that. I know people say COVID has been the biggest pandemic ever. Personally, myself, the biggest pandemic in the world right now is concentration and focus. And ultimately, the power of willpower and getting your concentration and your focus, that you get your mind one pointed, centered and focused. And you start not only to how you look back at something in the right way, rather than looking at back in a negative. You're starting to look at it and, right, how's this going to feed me forward? So I started to see how can I integrate this into my career. People say you'd be a great manager, you'd be a great goalkeeping coach. I've offered so many jobs, even to go back as Ireland's goalkeeping coach and all those different things. And no disrespect to the jobs that the lads do, serious pressure. But I just didn't feel I'd given 30 years basically of my life, and I wanted my freedom. I love my freedom. I love traveling. I love having my space. My Christmas is off and spending time with my family, very important to me. So then, I met my mentor and he said, well, transferable skills. I should start to look into coaching, mentoring, personal development. And it was a big thing of, well, how can I actually heal myself? And healing from the point of view to actually make something complete. Spending time with the Native Americans and learning about the medicine wheel.
Did you do ayahuasca?
I've done ayahuasca, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you have a good ayahuasca story,
loads.
No ayahuasca's pop.
No, I think we should save that for the next one.
Yeah,
save that for the next podcast.
Brilliant, yeah, fucking sure.
That's if I say so myself, that's a serious story.
Yeah.
So I started looking at
I can't wait till the next one, can you?
Yeah.
You're back tomorrow, yeah?
Yeah.
You're not going home till
No,
Friday,
I'm doing ayahuasca tonight.
Fucking hell, he wants it every month.
Yeah.
But you look at retirement for me as the vibe I get is I'm not finished.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. As in, no, I'm not finished. That door is closed. The football, I'm not going
football's
coaching.
done, yeah.
However,
Yeah.
I'm going to become a fucking mind expert here.
Yeah.
Like that's a fierce decision to make after.
It's huge because it's a whole change of identity.
After being so emotionally torn, where your mind is in bits over your football career, and let's be honest, it is, because it's ups and downs, it's ins and outs, it's rejection, it's acceptance, it's everything.
Yeah.
To make the decision to say, hold on,
I wouldn't wish my worst enemy to be a footballer.
Yeah, I get that.
Honest to God, yeah.
I get that fight.
My son came up to me and said, want to be a footballer? I was like, well, best of luck with it. I'll help you as much as I can. If he came up and he was like, don't want to do that, I'd be like, no problem, don't blame your son.
How do you feel? Do your kids have an English accent?
They do.
Well,
they do. They've got this kind of hybrid accent. It's not fully English. It's not fully Irish.
Yeah.
And Yeah, look, it is what it is, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, you can't kick your son out of the house for having a bad accent. Like,
Wait till he's at least 12.
Wait till he's at least 18. I've been waiting for this for the last 18 years.
Yeah. I've had this boot polished 18 years now.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it because I'm interested in people that live, Irish people that live in England, and like, do you immerse them in Irish culture?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Paddy's Day, like that, throw the Cúpla Focal. I'd be listening to like that. I love the Dubliners, Luke Kelly. Love me country and western music. Waylon Jennings and the boys. I know that's not
Teddy Swims.
You know, yeah. I know that's not full blown Irish and stuff, but it has that dance element and the show bands element to it. What else? Yeah, food, sausages, Irish, dairy, Kerrygold.
But you know what's funny?
Kerrygold.
Yeah.
Kerrygold is like...
What's the difference between Irish breakfast and English breakfast? Is it just
pudding?
Is it pride? Is it pride?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, white pudding.
I think it's pudding or something, is it?
Yeah, they don't have white pudding, do they?
Yeah, but it's probably pride as well. Yeah.
It's pride. Yeah.
Full Irish. He was a full Irish.
Full hours of brown soda bread or something random with it, like
farl or something.
Yeah. But yeah, Club Orange.
Yeah, just immerse them in it, just to make them aware of it, and
give them a couple of shots of Guinness, like it's sort of about 4. Do you know what I mean?
Go to sleep, son.
I didn't realise they call pints shots over in England.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll ask you this, right, to finish. Are you a fan of the game still?
I'm a fan now.
Okay, now
I can just go and just watch a game. It's like I never played the game. It's honest to God, lads, it feels. It was a past life experience. It feels like that was in a past life. That now I just rock up and I can go with my sons, go with my mates, and they nearly have to be reminding me that
you've achieved this, bud.
Yeah, exactly. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. Worn the
You
t-shirt.
don't find yourself focusing on goalkeepers and matches or anything like that. Just watch the game and that's it.
Not at all. Just watch the game.
Yeah.
Watch the game, enjoy it. Be like, give out. Should have done this, should have done that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You opinionated on it?
Unbelievable. Not really.
No?
Just...
No. Cool.
Just
Would you go to Terryland if you're home? Would you go?
I do, yeah. Go to Terryland every now and again. I
Murphy still gone. Murphy, they're gone.
They're gone more junior.
Yeah,
they're gone more into the junior side of things.
Does Connacht have a senior league? Connacht Senior League.
There used to be a Connacht Senior League. I don't think they have one now, unless they've got it back. I don't think they have.
There was 3 League of Ireland clubs in Galway, like Murphy,
Salt Hill.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. It was never going to sustain itself. It was always going to be Galway United.
A Salt Hill setup was different level, isn't it? Up there,
it's brilliant.
Yeah. So still watch the Irish games and
it's brilliant.
Kind of stuff,
I think we've gone about 14 hours, have we?
Jesus.
Yeah.
We're going to
another 14.
Yeah, do you have anything, Pop?
Jesus Christ. So what do you say to that, man? Just a privilege to be sitting in front of you, to be watching you.
Sign my chest.
Yeah. From a postman to a postman, We're there, baby. You want to be
Podge.
You're a fraud.
All alone.
You haven't got a few spare stamps there.
I get him to the horse, he's eating them.
We're going to skip the fixtures and we're going to skip Podge versus Pop. We'll put up online, right?
Yeah.
I want to say something on Ballymurphy are playing Nurney in the under-18s girls. I think it's either this weekend or next weekend. And the winners are going to be the first ever champions of the Youths Ladies under-18 League.
Wow.
As far as I know. Which is a big thing, right?
Well done.
Look, I want to say I've read the book. It's way more than your standard football autobiography. It's genuinely a raw and I think deeply personal explanation of resilience, of self-discovery, of look, I think it's top beans, and I'd be a big reader. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning last Wednesday reading it.
Yes, yeah. Well,
that's how weird I was. It's weird I am. Sorry.
Thank you.
And I really hope it goes far. I want to say, listen, thanks very much for coming on. It's an absolute honour for me, first of all, as a football fan, to have you here.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's
a couple hours.
Yeah,
I think we're a couple hours.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing.
There's loads more to talk about as well, So it's just
I told you, it's just
yeah.
You look. Listen, you can come. You're more than welcome to come back.
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
All means.
Yeah.
Just leave Jimmy at home, will you?
Yeah.
I want to thank actually Jimmy for setting this up because that's the connection there. It's the first time a Felix man done a favour for a Pats man, I can tell you that.
There's easy out there, isn't
it? Yeah. And Pop.
Nah, look, very humble her to sit in front of you. an international goalkeeper at the end of the day, and represent our country, which is the ultimate thing.
Absolutely.
At any sport, whether it's cricket or whatever the fuck it is. But
thank you.
We that watch soccer and soccer fans, and to sit in front of a lad who's done it all, really. So I tip my hat to you, and the best of luck in the future going forward with your business. Yeah.
Thanks a million, brother. Yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Lads, go get the book when it comes out. Genuinely, Being the One, it is a testament to resilience, emotional growth, and look, it just proves that it's not all about football, which I think is absolutely fantastic. God bless everyone. Thanks for your support. As always, Pop, it's not my podcast.
Not my podcast.
It's Carlo Soccer's podcast. It's your podcast. Good luck and God bless.
Not my podcast.
Cut that hours now. We have three.
Full time on this episode of the Housey Podcast. Available on all podcasting platforms. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter/X. Proudly sponsored by Curra Sports. For more information, contact Shane@currasports.com or check out their website, currasports.com.